This would be my first read through of Big Idea and the Nature Trail. I'm the old geezer. 1. If y'all can wrap your heads around it, it ain't the big idea. And the nature trail won't fit on a map any more than the big idea can squeeze into your noggin. Yet all the little notions sprang from the big idea and bequeathed us the best stories along the nature trail. Let the wild things roam free. If you crave to corral them, you'll just harness your own self. Big idea and the nature trail can't be understood, but cogitating on them just might keep you from getting lost. 2. If you want to call a square-jawed hero handsome, you need an ugly scar-faced villain to put up against him. We only recognize the good guys because of our encounters with the bad guys, and vice versa. Hard workers and lazy bums, sour lemons and sweet candy, high mountains and deep valleys, songbirds and screeching crows, heads and tails. It's the contrast, the two sides of a coin that gives us perspective. So a good old boy will mosey along without making a fuss. His trail will have rainy days and clear skies, successes and failures, joys and sorrows. In the end, everything will work out just as it should, and the good old boy will have no need to take credit for any of it. 3. Don't brag about your good deeds, and no one will think you're a braggart. Don't pile up expensive stuff, and no one will want to steal your stuff. The good old boy don't point out to folks the things they don't have. He helps them appreciate what they've got. He don't spin tales about places and things that cause yearnings in their hearts. He helps his neighbors be content because he is satisfied in his own self. 4. The big idea seems to be nonsense, but it makes perfect sense out of the whole dang kit and caboodle. Give it a little thought and your mouth will drop open. Your eyes will glaze over. Go on thinking about it and your pokey points will smooth out and your tangled knots will come loose. My, my, my. It's bigger than big and sits stiller than a granite mountain. Ain't got a clue where it came from. I reckon it was the grandpappy of the Lord. 5. The ground and sky don't play favorites. Every fella gets to suck in all the air he wants. At the end of the trail, a pine box is buried in the same ground as a copper casket. The good old boy treats all the folks walking the wide earth under the blue sky just the same. That there space between the ground and the sky is kind of an empty stage with a never-ending cast of characters passing by. So y'all don't pay too much attention to the tattletale tongue waggers. They'll talk themselves out soon enough. 6. A peaceful valley is like the undying love of your mother. No one can explain this nurturing source. From the spirit of woman, all good things are renewed without consternation. 7. The sky and the ground don't run out. They was here from my grandpappy, and they'll be here after I'm gone. How come they don't get used up? Because they ain't here for their own selves. That's why a good old boy don't push to the front of the line. He lets other folk go first. Everybody appreciates that, and he always ends up with a good seat anyhow. 8. If y'all want to get a better handle on the big idea, dive into the swimming hole. The water will say, "Come on in," to any good old boy who wants to take the plunge. Cool and soothing with a gentle current that turns mountains into valleys in its own time. Drift in its wet welcome. Learn how to flow around troubles and fill life to the brim with a double dip of generosity. 9. Don't waste water trying to fill a canteen that is already full. And if you keep on sharpening a knife that already has a good edge, pretty soon you'll be left with nothing but a knife handle. And if you leave your best saddle and pearl-handled revolver in an unguarded bunkhouse, you can be sure some scallywag will make off with them. After you win the rodeo, head on back to the ranch. A good old boy don't need to stick around for all the backslapping commotion. 10. A seasoned ranch hand keeps his eye on the herd and his noggin don't drift. He has a gentle get-along with the strays when he leads them back in, and he trusts his trail boss to find the best way across the Badlands. A good trail boss is as easy with his wranglers as they are with the herd. He don't need to bark orders. He makes sure there's plenty of good grub when the work is done, and if the owner gives a bonus at the end of the drive, he passes it on to his cowpokes. That's why he's called the best of the good old boys.